Okay, so for this last lab, we had to use an API with Python. So I basically did a domain lookup service, which was an API provided by Domainer, and basically, you can search like whatever, like creativecodefish.com, which is one of my domains, and it'll give you some results. This is a nice little back button to go back and check another one. Here, like right here, this is one of the responses. If it like doesn't know, um, I threw an error that says, it may be unavailable, and to check the registrar below. So then it'll list, all the registrars that you could, well, not all of them, but some registrars that you could do. So then it'll say it's not available, and it'll give you those links. So we can check another one, and Google's obviously taken, and if it's taken, it'll throw an error like that. If you don't put in any domain at all, it'll also give you an error, and that should be available. And if it's available, it'll also kind of like do the same thing. So code. I'm remembering code this time. Okay, so here we are. We're in the code now, and oh, a sec. I I added on to my day 10 stuff. Okay, so here we go. Here's my app.route for the /API, and this is where I'm basically just feeding it my HTML. It's nothing special. And then we have an app.route lookup, and this is like what happens when you submit. So it'll get the form data, which is just that domain field, and I go ahead and I append it to this URL. And this is the URL, the query URL that it gives it to me. And like you can see right here, it's got my client ID, which I made SSL 1412, and then it's got a query for the domain. Then I'm getting the response by using the unirest.getURL, and I'm passing through these headers. Like this is the way that the API needed this key. So this is kind of like my API key right here, and it needed that in order for me to even be able to go ahead and get the response. So I assigned the response, the body of this response, to the data, and then I pass it through into my results. And this is how I'm doing it. So this wasn't the right one. How was that one? Real quick. Files. This was like the landing page because it's got my form control. But I had in here my results.html, and this is like where I'm going ahead and I'm looping through, all the results and stuff. So there was like, quite a bit of results to loop through, so that's why, I've got all this stuff in here. So we got this right here, and I'm basically checking the availability of the data. Like, so this was one of the things that came back. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can, like, grab this real quick, just to show you what this looks like. I don't know how to pass it through. I basically went to mashape.com. Okay, so it says basically what I was doing, and okay, so when you make a query, this is like all the stuff that comes back. So there's like a whole bunch of stuff, and like you can see right here, I've got this availability taken. We've got a subdomain. We've got a whole bunch of different types of domains. I use this one because I like, it looks a little bit more professional. Complete, I guess. And then these are all the registrars. And that's how I'm basically going through. So you can see I'm pulling that. I'm pulling the availability. And then I'm pulling all the registrars in the available data space. So if we go back here to the results, you can see that, here's where I'm getting the data availability. And I'm basically querying against that. And then basically if it's taken, it's just going to show this that little error right there. And it's going to say that, the URL is already taken. Then here's my warning, which is if it doesn't know, it's going to just say it's unavailable, and then it's going to go ahead and loop through all the registrars that will sell that domain. And anyhow, here's like the actual HTML for it, where I'm basically getting, I'm looping through. And so for R, so that's basically each registrar in that registrar's array. So I'm getting the R, the register URL, as my hyperlink, and then I'm going ahead and just getting the registrar name for, the basic HTML text. And I pretty much just do the same thing for if it's, available. I pretty much do the exact same thing. I just changed the wording up a little bit. Alright, so that was my project. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.